Okay,
There it
it's
is.
been
Yo, what it do, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the SuperFlex Fantasy Football Show. It's yours truly, Kedz the Canuck. I got my guy, the dude, hanging out with me today. King of Pop will be with us shortly. He's just, you had to see a man about a horse.
business,
Man
if you
and
will.
horse, stuff like that. But yeah, welcome. Our guy, Chicago Sports Podcast. Shout out to you, Trax. Thanks for coming through and joining us today. That's awesome. Good to have you out there. Hey, look, man, he's on a bye. Week 14 was all about the bye and managing it. And I'll be completely frank with you guys and tell you that I'm not so sure I managed it in the best of my capacity. Probably should have got myself some Isaac Guerrero love, but it is what it is. Welcome all of you guys to, to the playoffs. If you were so fortunate to make it that far. Should be playoff week for just about everybody by way of fantasy football at this point. Gone through week 14. Week 14 was pretty – it was a tough week to get by. There were a lot of caliber teams that were off not playing football this past week, and a lot of folks were left reeling. I'm definitely going to say I was left reeling, but I wasn't all that worried because I thought that I had certain things in the bag. It turns out that I didn't. So I'm in four leagues. I am in the playoffs in 2 out of 4. I got bumped out of the playoffs by 2 points this past week in one of my leagues. Deuce One FX, shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to you. Deuce One's running things in the Gangster League. That's one of the leagues I'm in. He's doing quite well, leading the charge. And, kudos and shout outs to you. Hopefully you can pull things through as we go, as we go forward. Got my fingers crossed for you, buddy. Good luck. As for the other leagues, SuperFlex, Bears Podcaster League, holy cow. Did we ever have a week, y'all? Like we really did. Mad shout outs to my guy Naj. We'll start off with Naj. Me and Naj went back to back here in a major way. I gotta say, like Naj really knows how to manage his fantasy football team. I really got to give it to him. So in a relatively close game, this is only a 6-point differential here, pretty close between me and the Naj in the SuperFlex League. Unfortunately for me and Naj, both of us, neither one of us have a bye this week. At least I don't think we do. I think we wind up going head-to-head again this in week 15 because things are so tight between me and him. It's winner takes all right about now, and I gotta give it to the Naj. Naj knows how to manipulate that squad. What it do, King Booker World? King Booker's out there. King Booker's found his way into the playoffs as well. Shout outs to you. Shout outs to Mo Fugger as well. Yeah, so he says, I made the playoffs somehow, damn it. Yes, you did, sir. Yes, you did. You jumped in there and fought your way through. Best manager. Kedz the Canuck sets the perfect possible lineup and scored the max points, 138 points. That's what I was going to do, and that's what we did, but it still wasn't enough to beat your guy, the Nodge. So big shout outs to Nodge out there. Hey, Triple R, head to head. Don't. Oh man, you had to do it, didn't you?
Something like that.
You had to do
like
it.
That.
Nasty. Anyways, he's too funny, man. Mad love to my guy Triple R. Thanks for jumping through. No, this is fantasy football. That's a whole other kind of fantasy you talking about there, Triple R.
Balls are involved.
Too funny. That's hilarious. But yeah, no, like I say, shout out to the Nodge, man. I got to give him mad respect because every week I'm watching Nodge shook and dive and figure out some kind of madness and brings good things to life like GE, man, every single week. So he's hustled his way into the playoffs, as has King Booker World and myself and Mo Fugra. I think that's what the playoff picture looks like. Matter of fact, let's take a look at the SuperFlex playoff picture. So right now Black Rain got the bye. All right, so here's what it looks like.
Shout out to Ron, new sub.
Say what?
I said shout out to Ron, new sub.
Yeah. Thanks for coming, Mr. Winarski. Mad love. Big shout outs to you, sir. Triple R just laughing out there. Oh man! So in the playoffs right now, we got Black Rain. He's got a bye week. The Nodge versus Kedz. One more again. We get to do it again. Let's do the time warp again. We get to do it again. So we'll see who wins that. In that matchup. Then we've got Team Impeccable. Team Impeccable been doing it all season long. To be honest with you. So they got themselves a bye week. They've secured a bye. They had to relax this week. Outside of that, it's Booker the King Booker World versus Mo Fugra. So we'll see what the fallout of the matchup between myself and Nodge, as well as the fallout between King Booker World and Mo Fugra looks like. Winners will be facing Black Rain and Impeccable Team as required before we get right into that championship. Since I can do this, it's awesome to be able to throw certain people under the bus, including my partner here right now, the dude, who has, honestly, his roster is nasty. I don't understand this, dude. I don't get it. I was saying it
to you. They underperformed.
Yeah, big time. Your roster definitely underperformed. You got a really nice roster, and I'm not sure if I can.
The problem was this. My quarterback situation was hot and cold. There were times where I was not playing the right guy. And then you can say the same about certain people on my bench. There were weeks where I had Downs playing and he wouldn't do anything. And then I had games where he was sitting and then he's getting 25, 30 points on my bench. So I just had bad management of said nasty team.
Okay, that'll do it, right? It really and truly is a management scenario. King Booker's just cracking jokes out there. He's like, I don't know how my team made it, but he wants to congratulate Mo Fugra for his upcoming win against him because his team is Basuda. Oh man, yeah. Unfortunately, dude has underperformed. It's just the truth. Team No Maniac. Oh, there he is, King of Pop, right on time. Team No Maniac 1 just hasn't quite done it. He's been looking for a running back all season. Never really got the chance to pull that trigger on that running back, and I think it just came back to bite you in the behind. What say you, King of Pop?
First of all, I heard Triple R's in the chat. I know you did something. He said something crazy. I heard it from a distance. Trip, you nasty mother. You know what?
It's the worst part about it, King, is me and you were literally just talking about how nasty this dude really is. We were just cracking jokes on your name there, Triple R, and here you come, right on cue. It was beautiful. It was a thing of beauty. We all got to salute Triple R, man. It was a beautiful thing. Anyways, yeah, man, what say you about your team this season, man? Somehow you fell by the wayside. You are in the toilet bowl, unfortunately. Outside of that, the SuperFlex championship is still up for grabs. What happened to you?
That's all we need. It's all we need, man. Is some other reason to be negative, man, because I got all the and I just did not, like you say, man, you gotta act on situations when they present themselves. It was clear that I was a running back short all year long, but I was trying to do it by committee, trying to find that hot guy on the waiver wire, like a lot of people do, instead of, giving up a precious commodity and getting something back in return for it that's going to help your team. I was thick at receiver, pretty thick team at receiver. My receivers do pretty good numbers, and I could have parted with one of those guys and just went and got another flex piece, but I didn't do it, and it cost me, man. So anybody that's still out there and you got a chance to have an opportunity to kind of squeeze your way into a situation, man, you better activate that trade and stop. Don't be so possessive about the pieces you have when you know you have a team need. Go out there and get the piece you need, man, or end up being like me in the toilet bowl while it's flushing and I'm circling the drain going down, bro.
Like Owen Hart, man. Like Owen Hart. Anyhow, that always comes back to the you can't flush Owen Hart, man. You'll be back. Anyways, yeah. So that's the story of No Maniac 1 and the King here, man. I gotta give him some props. He gave you exactly what it was. It was a little bit of a management issue. He had the opportunity to make some moves, decided not to, and he came back to bite him in the behind. And that's sounds a little bit similar to what the dude just said there as well. Somehow I've been able to stick it out. I desperately need wide receivers. I'll say this out loud right now, but we'll see how things work out on the SuperFlex side of the fence. I'm pretty impressed, and shout outs to all the SuperFlexers out there. We'll see. I'll see you in the championship. I'm sure. That's my 2 cents there. I want to move over to what had to be the fantasy football matchup of the season, at least for me and Joe Mandel, but for the rest of the guys in the Bears podcast league. So Joe Mandel is one of the guys from Fantasy Football Goon. Shout out to you, Joe. They've got a great show with Tooch, our guy Tooch. They do fantasy football stuff very similar to what we do here as well. So it's awesome to be in this league and be up against some really cool people who really love football. Aldo Gandia, Dr. Mason West, Thigh, our guy Carl from BCP. There's a whole bunch of us over there just playing it down. And man, this week, in the middle of the week, things were looking grim for yours truly, right? Like I gotta say, Joe Mandel came out and just slapped me up a little bit early. I think it was up maybe 60 or 70 points early. And just gonna look at some of these notes here because we were chopping it up, man. Joe was saying, man, what a battle between us is Joe. I'm like, dude, it's not. By the end of the night on Sunday, I'm like, it's not a battle. You're blowing me out. I think he had almost 100 points on me, and all I got left is the Cincinnati handcuff. That's all I got. And lo and behold, man, the Cincinnati handcuff. I was down heavily. The other piece to it was Travis Kelce. Those 3 guys by the end of the week brought me within 2 points of a win against Joe Mandel. And even thought I had to jump in and be like, no way, Kedz. Within 2 points, brutal, like super brutal, right? Like, man, that's as close as it can get in fantasy football. And big shout outs to my guy Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. That Cincinnati handcuff is nasty, and I'm pretty sure it's going to take me to the championships in the Bears Podcaster League. I truly have to say, my big worry is this guy, and this is a guy that everybody should be a little bit wary of. So that's how we're going to start today's show for the most part, outside of looking at what playoffs look like, etc. I want to start by looking at our guy. Where are you, Kenneth? Where are you, Kenneth? Somehow I'm in the wrong league now. There we go. Kenneth Walker. Man, Kenny Walker been putting up just beautiful fantasy football numbers all season long, with a slight exception in the previous week's game, right? Previous week's game, he got hurt. It's okay. What it do, Crimson? Shout out there, Deuce Warren. Little bit of an issue in week 13 because he got hurt. Whatever that injury is, I believe it's a calf injury. Yeah, calf injury is what they're talking about here. That held him out in week 14. Let me tell you right now, Joe Mandel, if Kenneth Walker had played, I would have got them 2 points. It would have been Kedz Canuck this week. But it's okay. I got a bye week in that league, so I got another week for Kenneth Walker to heal up and get back on the field. But for those of you who have a Kenneth Walker, be wary. He's hurting. He's probably not going to play in week 15. If he does, awesome. But keep your eyes peeled. You may want to look at some sort of alternative for Kenneth Walker if you're holding him. Again, those of us who have him, he's 90% rostered. Started in 37% of leagues. I guarantee this number was so much higher last week, strictly because, he's been a consummate professional the entire season. All of a sudden, he's now hurt. And again, that does tend to happen towards the end of the season with running backs. So
him getting hurt really messed me up too. I'll tell you what.
Not fun for Kenny Walker, I truly have to say. But keep your eyes peeled in that regard. You may want to look at a Zach Charbonnet, who's right behind him. The kid is a fantastic back. If he's going to be out for some time, there's your honest to goodness replacement, like for like, and he'll put up very similar numbers, I do have to say. So keep your eyes peeled on a Zach Charbonnet.
Is this where you starting with running backs, or did you just go to Kenneth Walker in particular about his situation?
Well, because he's the reason why I lost to Joe Mandel, I figured I would jump right in there. But if you wanted to talk about an additional RB, we can go down that road too.
Take your time. We'll get there when we get there.
All right. Okay. Well, then we will just start things out with the quarterback position. And to be frank with you, outside of Bo Nix and Matt Stafford, I wouldn't really talk about any of these trending up guys. We can take a quick peek at Bo Nix. Honestly, his numbers are not pedestrian. They're solid numbers. They're worth a start. Had a bye week last week. He's going up against the Indianapolis Colts. I think he'll probably have a solid game against Indianapolis. The big thing here for anybody who's paying attention to Bo Nix, there's two big things. First one is actual number of attempts. He's upwards of 30 attempts for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The past 6 weeks. That's crazy. So that is simply going to translate into fantasy football numbers. Period. That's what that equals. On the other side, my guy runs the ball, man. He runs the ball quite frequently, which is pretty crazy. So keep your eyes peeled on his rushing ability as well. Between 4 and 5 attempts for the better part of the season. So watch out for that. He'll put up some numbers on the ground too. Not a bad start as a QB.
If you don't mind, I'm thinking out loud right now for you all because, depending on who you are, what kind of league you're playing in, and what kind of situation you have at your quarterback spot. I think there's a lot of guys out there. I can think probably 3, 4, maybe 5 guys right off the top of my head that are auditioning for a job next year, whether it be on that team or some other team next year. There's several guys like your Jameis Winstons of the world. You got Cooper Rush in Dallas. You got, several guys, man, that are out there that when they get their opportunities, and this is that time of year when teams aren't going to make the playoffs, when they start putting in a bunch of backups and seeing what you have towards the end of the season. So you know what kind of roster acquisitions you're going to need to make, right? So there's some names that we probably should pay more attention to if given the opportunity. And, Aiden O'Connell, that's a name that constantly comes up every time I turn on a fantasy show, but I'm scared of that right now. I don't think the receiving core is good enough, and he's not viable enough for me. I don't think he's put up anything worth, justifying him. The hot guy for me right now, and probably the least rostered one, is probably Jameis Winston right now. He can put up a 500-yard game like it ain't nothing. And so, if I'm looking at a quarterback, it's probably Jameis Winston if I could.
Right there with you, and yeah, again, like when I look at these players, I'm looking for trends, I'm looking for evidence, I'm looking for proof of life, and I can't say that I see that with Mr. O'Connell. Right, nice 20-point game in week 13. We're back down to 9 points in week 14. Couple of goose eggs, nothing to really write home about. There's no consistency for me to tout here with Aiden O'Connell, and that's fine. Raiders fans out there, Deuce 1FX is one of you. By all means, do what you want to do, but I would be looking for some level of a track record before I started somebody like this, and I just don't see it. Speaking of which, he hurt, so he might not be there for you this week either. So keep that in mind. Speaking of hurt quarterbacks, Derek Carr.
He's hurt again?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Lord. Who's the backup there?
I don't even know. Here we go. I could let's find out.
Spencer Rattler, I'm pretty sure.
It's amazing. I'm looking at he's rostered in 22% of leagues. What? That's got to be something's off about that.
Well, no, he'd been hurt, right? So that's why his number's so low. He was hurt. He started out great, had a great start to the season, as you can sort of see here. Then he got hurt.
There you go, Spencer Rattler.
Rattler.
We're looking out tracks.
Appreciate that, brother. So people are dropping off left, right, and center. Upside is we've got, he's got a couple of weeks of good stuff. The downside is I believe he might have broken his finger or thumb or something to that effect.
You know what?
And he's in concussion protocol as well.
Speaking of freaking auditioning, I don't know that Derek Carr is 100% sold. I don't know if he's 100% sold that organization on whichever direction they go next year on him being the starting quarterback. You're talking about the ultimate audition. I think he's in line to have that, Spencer Rattler, man. So you want to talk about maybe the guy that could sneak everybody in this week's fantasy leagues. I think Spencer Rattler, man, he's seen enough football, watched enough football, got some experience in there, and a lot of times learning from the sidelines, man. You get a different perspective, and when he gets his opportunity, Spencer Rattler is a damn good quarterback and just needs opportunity. He just needs reps, and I think moving forward, I'd take this gamble if I was a quarterback needy team, man. I like Spencer Rattler. This is the ultimate audition he's about to head into.
So it's either Spencer Rattler or it's Jake Haener.
You think Haener's going to start? I don't know about that.
He took over, right? So he actually got the reps last week, whereas Spencer Rattler didn't. So I don't know. Real advice for all y'all fantasy football heads. This is a fantasy football show. Stay away from both of these quarterbacks. Like to play. Hopefully, if you're moving into the playoffs, you should hopefully want nothing to do with either one of these guys. I'm just say that out loud. They're going up against Washington. I ain't saying Washington is the greatest defense in the NFL, but I don't think Dan Quinn's defense is gonna get taken by either one of these two guys. So be wary. Long story short, if you got a Derek Carr and you're starting him, you need to find somebody else. So that was sort of the moral of that particular story. They're saying he's questionable. He's got a broken finger. Oh, wait. Fracture to the left non-throwing hand. Currently doesn't appear as though it will require surgery. So maybe not surgery, but he is also in concussion protocol. So again, be a little bit wary on the Saints QB situation. A little bit funky, to say the least. What else we got? We're looking at quarterbacks. This guy's rostered. This guy started for the most part. If he's on a bench and you need a guy, he's playing football, yo.
Matthew Stafford is in your league, and if he's on the waiver wire in your league, you're playing with the wrong people. You're playing with a bunch of damn dummies. I mean, he has no business not on anybody's team. And if you're not starting him, you something's wrong with you, and you shouldn't be playing fantasy. That's the quickest ticket to lose a whole lot of damn money.
So I'm gonna kind of disagree with you a little bit here, and it's just this particular season. Under normal pretenses, Matt Stafford is kind of a fantasy football lock, right? Like you should do pretty well with him. If you look at the trends here, they don't trend great, but also recognize that his receiving core has been decimated for the better part of this season. I was going to say his receiving core is back now, but if I'm correct,
man, that guy can throw to either one of us right now, fresh off the street, fresh off the couch. Put whoever out there, Matthew Stafford going to hit him.
I heard something to the effect that this guy may not be playing in week 15. So I just wanted to keep that in mind. I don't see any notice of that right now in the little sidebar here for Sleeper. Shout out sleeper.com. Always big love to you and your content. I don't see that here. Are
you cautioning? I want to be clear. Are you cautioning people not to play Matthew Stafford because Puka might not play?
No.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to be
I'm
clear.
just telling people.
I'll spice it up in this mother right now.
Fair enough. All right, fair enough. That is not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is Puka might not play, period. The homie Puka Nacua put up 50 points last week. That's a whole lot of points, right? So folks out there might want to be wary that 50 points that you added last week might not be available to you this week. I believe he's hurt. So keep your eyes peeled there. As far as Matt Stafford is concerned, he put up 50 points with Puka. That means a solid 20-point day for Matt Stafford, a couple of touchdowns here and there. And let's not forget Cooper Kupp's on the other side doing the darn thing. So keep your eyes peeled. If you need a Matt Stafford, I am not the guy to tell you not to go get him. But I am going to say that he might not be rostered for the simple fact that his receiving core was decimated in the middle of the season. He might be floating around in your waiver wire right now. So if you need a guy, week 15 against San Francisco, I don't know. Maybe.
Hey, I'm taking Matthew Stafford like yesterday. I don't care who's like Trax is in here saying that the tricky part is who he's throwing to, trying to pick one of those guys to pop off and give you some numbers. That's the most difficult thing to do. Picking Matthew Stafford as your thrower, that's a no-brainer. It's easy. If you got him, throw him in.
That is an easy situation. You're looking at 17 points on the low, regardless from Stafford, and I'll swear by that. So if you need a guy, he may be out there. Get yourself some Matt Stafford love. Guys you should probably avoid. How about this guy?
Ooh. Oh, Miracle Whip himself, huh?
Yeah, Mr. Miracle Whip. Mayonnaise in the coffee. I keep trying to give you a little bit of love for it, but I can't even do it anymore, bro.
He's a straight up serial killer. I don't care what nobody says.
Maybe he is. Maybe that's what that is. We got it's like an inside conversation. We're cracking jokes. But here we are. So yeah, just dodge this like the plague. I don't know what this man is doing. Under normal pretenses, I'm gonna sit here and say the volume speaks. What it do, Minister Charles Johnson? Always good to have you, my brother. Yeah, I mean, 37 attempts. That's a fair amount of attempts. You should see some decent numbers with that. As in, that's a high amount of attempts. You should see some decent numbers. He's not putting up decent numbers. It's just kind of how it is. 15 points is low average at best. 7 points against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Wow. That screams volumes, especially considering that this week Trevor Lawrence was hurt and out. So all the opportunity in the world there for you, and just nothing really clicking with Will Levis. Make matters worse, sounds like he might also be hurt. So dodge Mr. Levis like the plague.
Man.
I don't know what to tell you about this guy. I don't know what to say. Love this guy, but I watched this football game this week, and man, my guy really likes to hold the football, though. That's my 2 cents.
That's killing your overall. That's killing your bottom line because he can go out there and throw a 350-yard game and a couple touchdowns pretty easily, and he'll get sacked 6-7 times and just mess you all up. You know,
yeah, all of those things. So here, like, look, the Bears are playing the Minnesota Vikings again, right? That's who they're playing.
We got
last time they played the Vikings, almost 30 points for Caleb Williams, 47 attempts. I don't know if that's what you're gonna get. Yeah, Ron Winarski. Not only does Ron Winarski say sit Caleb, but Ron Winarski also says, where was it? Where are you at, Ron? Ron Winarski also says sit the entire Bears offense. Right? So, just putting that out there. I don't know how you call it. I got a whole bunch of Bears here, there. And I also have to say that the Nodge beat me very mainly because he scooped up Rome Odunze, and he played Rome Odunze, who happened to have a really good week this week. And that's all she wrote. So I just don't know what to call here against these Minnesota Vikings this time around without Eberflus. I don't know what happens here. If you have 69% roster, 36% started,
same old coordinator, same quarterback, they came up with a formula to pretty much. They won against the blitz last time, and they protected him well. He threw up 30 points. I don't think that was a fluke. Question is, do we think they can duplicate that performance? I put my name in that and say they could.
Bro, I just don't know, man. Like, if they'd performed admirably, I ain't gonna say if they won, but if they had performed admirably in this past game against the San Francisco 49ers, specifically by way of offense, then I might be Mr. Charles is offering drinks, and honestly, at this point with this team, I may have to accept. I'm just saying I don't know what we're going to get against this Minnesota team. Do they know what to do against this Minnesota team to be successful? The strangest answer to this is I think they actually do. I haven't seen this Minnesota team. I haven't seen any other team just dismantle Minnesota the way that the Bears did in the previous matchup. We lost the football game because of just straight up coaching idiocy. Is that going to happen again this week? Maybe. Ron Winarski says 56-3 Vikings. Good Lord, Ron. Runs out on the Bears this season. I'm big love, Ron. I'm with you, and I feel you, dog. I don't know what to tell you. I don't even know what to say. If you got Caleb Williams, start him if you got him. But I'm this week and the remaining weeks of football for these Chicago Bears really worry the hell out of me.
Here's a new viewer, Dylan Fink.
Mr. Fink, playoff waiver wire. What do you got? First defense, Washington at New Orleans, Jets at Jacksonville, Falcons at Las Vegas, kicker Bass at Detroit, or Dicker at Tampa Bay.
Hey, you know what? That in that Falcons Vegas matchup, I think I tell you, I saw some good trends from a running back in that Vegas team, Sincere McCormick. I don't know if he's going. I think they're basically sharing their load share is going on, but Sincere McCormick looked good. In the minimal little bit that I seen, man, Sincere McCormick is a guy I keep my eyes on if I was somebody in the need.
Well, we'll get to that. There's a couple of guys like that, actually, especially at the running back position this week, because, it's a long season, yo. You know what I'm saying? Like, these guys are going to get hurt. It's bound to happen at some point. They're also going to hopefully require rest before they get into the playoffs themselves too. So, we all got to be a little bit wary with all of that. Minister Charles Johnson got faith. The Bears are going to beat the Vikings. It's possible. I'm just a little worried about whatever residual effects come from this past game, because this was just nothing good came. There was no good football being played by the Bears this week. So Dylan, if I'm looking at your stuff, I would go New Orleans over Washington defense. Believe that. I would go.
You wait a minute. You said New Orleans over the Commanders defense?
Mm-hmm. New Orleans defense been playing really well this season, and you'd be surprised.
Dylan, you're gonna lose your damn money fooling around with kids.
Which one would you do? Would you do Jets over Jacksonville? Because that's the other one that I would do.
What were the options? Jets, Jacksonville, Vegas, Atlanta, and what else?
Oh, my bad. Sorry. He's saying Washington over. He has Washington. Washington at New Orleans. Jets at Jacksonville. I would go Jets to Jacksonville. Sorry. My bad, Dylan.
I think it's a perfect setup for Cousins to have a bounce back game if you want to wager something. That's a perfect setup.
Yeah. Yeah, I would go Jets to Jacksonville. They've got a good defense. The defense has really underperformed this season. But again, I don't think that Trevor Lawrence will be playing. So all the more reason for defensive resurgence for the Jets. The kicker question is a good one, because I had to answer this same question myself. Let's see what squad that was. Was that this squad? Did I dump him? I did. Let's see how he did this week. I'll be mad if he did. Oh, I'll be real mad. I'm about to make myself mad. Watch this. Tyler Bass. Come on. Oops. One S too many. Tyler Bass, what did you do this week? Okay, 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Fine. All right. So Tyler Bass is one of the leading kickers this season. So is Cameron Dicker. I have both of them on my squad as well. I just quite literally dropped Tyler Bass and stuck with Cameron Dicker. Cameron Dicker is playing. So Tyler Bass is playing Detroit this week. Cameron Dicker is playing who? Tampa Bay.
All I know is I'm glad playing here. Cameron Dicker, huh?
Say what?
I'm just
Dicker
glad. Cameron, the word Cameron Dicker, he'd run with that.
Triple R's in the chat. He'll come up with something, I'm sure. Look, the Cameron Dicker's really been holding it down for me all season. I switched up at week 12, and Dicker's been playing well. I would lean towards Cameron Dicker, to be quite frank with you, except for the fact that I think this is going to be a really good football game between Detroit and the Bills, and it might just come down to a whole bunch of kicking. So, yeah, there's that.
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
You're on your own with kickers. They don't exist in my world.
Oh, man. Like I say, Cameron Dicker is a really good kicker, man. He actually is. He's doing great things over there with John Harbaugh. Jim. Sorry, my guy Jim. Look.
And he's weird looking.
He's a kicker, bro. What did you expect? They all kind of look like Dexter, all of them. Except for Torrey Taylor.
Man, that dude is like a middle-aged coach at probably 20-something years old.
Yo, shout out Cameron Dicker, man. Sorry, we got to tear your picture down because it's hilarious. In any event, I'm sticking with Cameron Dicker there, Dylan. I would suggest you do the same, but I would understand the Bass over Detroit, because, like I say, I think that game is going to be kick heavy. I just do. Richards versus Chicago. I don't know who Richards is. Who's Richards? So we play Minnesota. Is that their kicker? That game not gonna come down to kicks.
I have no idea what's going on.
It's got to be their kicker. Yeah. So I would dodge that like the plague if that's the case. I would dodge the Minnesota kicker. I don't think he'll be the guy. It's either Bass or Dicker. I'm going Dicker this week mainly because I dumped Bass last week. The differential was 1 point, so I think you're safe to roll with either one. I will say that I do think actually that situationally Bass versus Detroit might be the better selection. All right. Back at it, yo. Back at it. So we've taken a look at QBs for the most part. Haven't really got deep into this running back situation. Here's the guy that everybody's talking about, really. So my guy Isaac Guerrero came to Chicago, ran it all over like he was bloody Christian McCaffrey. And this guy did too. Like this guy, look at this though. This guy had 7 attempts, and still put up just about 10 fantasy football points on the day. What's the moral of this story? Moral of this story is Kyle Shanahan's a really friggin' good coach, right? Like that's the moral of the story. Their offensive line is a really good offensive line. And all he did was figure ways to scheme it so that these guys could have a field day running the football. And it didn't matter who was running the football. So in a week where, after a week where it didn't matter who was running the football, Isaac Guerrero might be hurt. Okay? So if Isaac Guerrero's hurt, then a guy like Patrick Taylor might be to your advantage, might just come in handy and may put up some decent numbers up against the Los Angeles Rams. The question is really, how has the Los Angeles Rams fared by way of the rush? Unfortunately, I don't know. Well, we'll have to see. Divisional contest, so probably a good showing.
So in this situation, you're not necessarily picking up a player, even though you're picking up a player, you're buying the system. Mm-hmm. What you're doing is trusting a system that consistently proves to teams week in, week out, doesn't matter who you put behind that quarterback to run the ball, that the system will churn out you some points. And he's a great pickup if Isaac Guerrero doesn't go this week. And so if you're me, I already got a waiver on him right now, just in case, because I got Isaac Guerrero. And so, yeah, that's a money pick right now. Guarantee you we'll be back here next week talking about it.
Yes, sir. I wish he was lying. He ain't lying. He did bring up Sincere McCormick a little while ago. There's your boy Deuce. Couple of weeks running the football in Las Vegas, and he's putting up 12 plus points. Fair amount of attempts, and that's what's important here, right? 12 attempts, 15 attempts. They're letting him run the rock. And if they are, he's going to put up similar numbers like what you're seeing here. So that's fantastic. Those are good numbers. I got to say, Sincere McCormick is a guy that if you need a guy, go look at the guy. All right. Pay attention to Sincere McCormick. Definitely worth your time. He's trending upwards for sure, without question. Sean Tucker's a great back. He just hasn't had the opportunity to show it yet. I'm not so sure he's really going to get that opportunity this week either. So I'm going to leave Mr. Tucker alone because he's got 2 guys ahead of him. He's got Rashad White and he's also got Bucky Irvin. And I think Bucky Irvin is an amazing running back that I really wish the Chicago Bears picked in this past draft. But what can you do? Here's that guy I was talking about earlier on. Holy jumping. Zach Charbonnet. So, Kenneth Walker goes down. Zach Charbonnet goes up. Like, holy smoke. 44 fantasy football points on the week, 22 attempts from a paltry 4 attempts. But let's be real. Charbonnet just one of them guys who sometimes when he sees the ball a couple of times, you can turn that into a 14-point week, right? And that's crazy. I really like Charbonnet. Really liked him coming into the draft here. If Kenneth Walker can't do the darn thing this coming week, great guy to have. Speaking of all of that, shout out to my guy, Dr. Mason West, for scooping him the F up. And hopefully he's not a problem as we get deeper into these playoffs. Big shout out there. Zach Charbonnet is a dude. Oh, why is he trending? He should be trending down. Look, Javonte Williams is a great back. I don't know what's going on in Denver. I never do. Denver's always some kind of a question for me. It might just be that the passing game is actually kind of working right now, and the quarterback will also run. But
it's just that every successful position group starts with the offensive line, especially the running back. If the offensive line, you could have one of those really good pass protection offensive lines and really, beneath average running because all year long nobody in Denver has really put up solid numbers, and there's something indicative there. And you have to look at the common denominator, the offensive line, probably just like us. It's not like we have bad running backs. We just have an offensive line that can't really get it blocked up the way we need to consistently for running backs to get good numbers. Starts up front, bro.
That's interesting. I kind of feel like it's a little bit of both, but
you got Jackson here right now. Let him tell you, he's an offensive lineman.
Well, no, I'm not saying we have an offensive line because we definitely don't. Part of the issue here with Javonte Williams is that the other two backs are starting to step up. So what they're saying here is that he only played. He still wound up playing less, seeing less rushes than Jaleel McLaughlin. All right. Which also then you also have to factor in Audric Estime into those numbers too. So I think the timeshare situation might be creeping up, and his numbers are suffering. But
number one, who do they play this week? Number one. Number two, should you even scoop Javonte Williams and put him in your lineup? First answer, whatever that is. The second answer is hell no. It's consistently. He hasn't been able to churn it out, and I don't think he's a viable option in fantasy right now.
I agree with you. If we were going into draft week, I would say get him immediately. But considering we're going into week 15, I would not really be looking at a Javonte Williams. I'll be completely honest. These numbers are too sporadic, and what makes matters worse is the attempts. 4, 8, 9, 1. Single attempt against Kansas City. That's crazy to me. 2 great games with 17 and 14 and 12. Yeah, okay, now we're talking, but that's weeks ago, right? So they're looking for other answers elsewhere, and at this point, I would avoid Mr. Williams. I'll be completely frank on that. Even though our friends at Sleeper are saying that he is trending up. Here's a guy who's trending up.
No, I don't know.
Me either. Look, this is like a good, the saying is like a good problem to have. A good problem to have is like you got yourself a Tyler Algier, who is a wicked good pass catching back. He is. And then you go and you draft yourself a Bijan Robinson. So you should kind of really have something that resembles the Detroit Lions rushing attack, to be honest with you, should really resemble that. It does not. So take that for what it's worth. Very sporadic numbers, very sporadic number of attempts, although much higher than the last one we just saw with the Javonte Williams. He's getting between, on a low 5 attempts this season, a low of 3, but for the most part, he's getting more than six attempts game on game, which is generally resulting in decent numbers. Not great, but decent. If you desperately need a guy, Tyler Algiers is a guy to get. I'll say that, but at the same time, he's always going to be behind Bijan Robinson, and unless Bijan is hurt, definitely just not worth your time. I gotta say it.
Not the least bit.
Who else did we want to talk about here? Let's just take a look at Mr. Bigsby before we get out of the running back game. Yep. Okay, so it is. Oh man, now I'm mad. It is what I thought it would be. So Trevor Lawrence is hurt. These guys ran the ball, and that was the story of the football game. Both Tank Bigsby and Travis Etienne were viable running backs to start this week. He saw 18 attempts. That's a fair amount of attempts. They're relatively high. Like we just looked at a bunch of other guys were pushing like between 6 and 9 attempts on a regular weekly basis. 18, that's a lot of attempts for your second running back. Awesome. So again, if you do need a guy, Tank Bigsby has a track record. It's not ridiculous. It's pretty decent, right? His numbers are relatively decent as you move forward. And you take a look. So keep that in mind. Tank Bigsby is definitely trending up. If you need a back this week, I would start them both, Brandon. I would start them both. If you have them both, I would start that handcuff because nothing's happening via the air without Trevor Lawrence. You got Mac Jones.
Here's something to consider, and this is to Trax's question. So they've already had a coaching change, right? They've already had a coaching change. Number one. Number two, the question still looms around the quarterback. That's the second piece to the ratio you want to consider. How well will they be able to run the ball with a subpar quarterback behind the line of scrimmage? Will the front come really attack them and just tell them you can't beat us throwing the ball and we're going to just come after your running back? You got to think about that. And two, is Travis Etienne a guy that they see in their future, or is Tank Bigsby the guy that they see, as the bright spot for their future? That's the question. And so my answer to that question is no, I wouldn't start them, either one of them, because they're going to gang up at the line of scrimmage, 8-9 in a box, and try to make Mac Jones beat them. That's number one. Number two is Etienne, I think, won't be there in the long run. And so Tank Bigsby, if you have to go and grab a guy, I probably have to. I go with Bigsby before I did Etienne.
So here's a real answer. The real answer is by way of attempts. What's crazy? 18 attempts for Tank Bigsby versus 4 attempts for Travis Etienne.
That's indicative of something.
It is definitely indicative of something. I'm not sure what it is, but it kind of sounds like they like them some Tank Bigsby. Right, he's been eating into target share, into target share, rushing attempt share, if you will, all season long by way of Travis Etienne. Maybe they don't see him in their future, just as Nomad is saying. I don't know what the real answer to all this is. The real upside is, even with 4 attempts, Travis Etienne's putting up 14 points. That's the real upside. So, Trax, if I were you, I would actually start them both this week. I think that works out to 30 fantasy football points, if not more, by way of the running backs position.
Who they're facing, number one?
Jacksonville is up against the Jets.
Ooh. Yeah. I'll just leave that one there.
Not the best. They've got a decent defense. Actually, a really good defense. It just hasn't been really good this season. I don't know what to say. I would probably bench Chubbs and run them both. Yeah, I would. We're going to take a quick look at that Chubbs.
That's just that. Can you ever have imagined that you'd have to get to? You'd say that those words, bench Nick Chubb. That's crazy.
What?
This doesn't sound right coming out of my face.
Well, I'm hearing you. You know what I mean? I feel what you're saying, and now I'm looking at the trend, and the trend ain't good, right? Traditionally, the trend for Nick Chubb is fantastic, but in this particular season, year 2024, 6 weeks of nothing. Then we got some stuff going on. But even the stuff we got going on isn't really, 16 attempts, 7 points, 15 attempts, 6 points. 11 attempts, 8 points. 11 attempts, 6 points. Man, that's painful, bro. That's painful. If you waited 6 weeks to start this man, and these are the numbers he's been putting up for you, I'd be a little bit angry.
You know what, man? Here's the thing: when you watch him on tape, what's the only thing, he looks the same, right? Like on the surface, he looks the same, but when he's in between the tackles, Nick Chubb's strength has always been breaking arm tackles and being able to run through the smoke. And one-on-one guys couldn't really get him down. You have to kind of square him up to get him down. But if he's running right through arm tackles and he just doesn't have the same power and burst, just being this fresh off of an injury, I think he's heading back towards that. I'm not saying he can't get it, but right now, that thrust that he normally had to really power through some of those arm tackles and really bring heat inside the trenches and in that hole, it ain't the same no more.
Couldn't have said it better myself, but I can also say they're also up against the Kansas City Chiefs this week. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that the Super Bowl champions, multi-time Super Bowl champions, are the best at fitting the run, but they're definitely no slouches. So it's going to be a tough go for Nick Chubb this week. And
sit him or bench him. What you calling for? Bench him?
That's kind of where we're going. You know what I'm saying? Like, it kind of sounds like a week riding the pine for Nick Chubb. I gotta say. So Trax, like I was saying, I would rock with both of these guys over in Jacksonville. That'd be my two cents there. Let's go back and then just take a look at these running backs again before we jump out. Trending backs. Here's the one guy I didn't see. Okay. Man, you know who I miss? I miss my guy Michael Carter. For all you Jets fans out there, shout out to you, Chase. Isaiah Davis. Isaiah Davis will be stepping into the Breece Hall shoes this week. It looks like he's done it these last 2 weeks. Actually, Breece Hall's been sidelined with a knee injury as of late. So this is a bit of a diamond in the rough, y'all. 15% rostered, 7% started. Really glad that I actually took a bit of a deeper look into Isaiah Davis. Yeah, man. Week 15 against Jacksonville. So you just finished.
I got to be clear about, because I'm not up on the latest information. So Breece Hall is out. Is he out? Number one, and so he leapfrogs Braylon Edwards. Braylon. What's his last name?
Braylon Allen. Let's look at all these things. I'm glad that you brought that up.
I know he's on the radar with a touchdown or something this week, but does he leapfrog Braylon Allen?
No.
When you clear about what we're telling these people, because I don't want people to miss.
Just straight up. I'm glad you did that. I'm glad you caught that. So it's a straight up timeshare, right? So basically what they said was, okay, so our bell cow back is hurt. So instead of us just leaning on Braylon Allen, the rookie, or the other rookie, we're going to timeshare this thing and split it 50-50. So the attempts this week running the rock were 10 for Isaiah Davis, puts up 18 fantasy football points in the process, to 11 for Braylon Allen, who puts up 16 fantasy football points in the process, 54 to 53% of the snaps taken by each one of the backs. So they're literally a timeshare split together.
So
right?
What this looks like to me, Kedz, is, again, one of those situations where this is audition time, right? And what are we having next year? We know one of these guys are our future. Which one is it?
Whoa.
One of these guys are our future. Is Breece Hall going to even want to still be here? I don't know.
Yeah, so there's certain things that he's. I'm not sure what year he is into his tenure, but I don't think I don't think he's going anywhere. I think all three of these backs are super safe, and that's just the core nucleus of their running back room for the next couple of years.
It could be the race for number 2 then. You know what I mean? Who you know, right now I would say I put my money on Braylon Allen if I had to pick one right now. So just make sure we're clear about what we're telling people now. If Breece Hall is not playing, this would be the guy I'd go and get.
So if I was a Dr. Mason West who did the sneaky thing, Mason West been managing that team, yo. Shout outs to you, Doc. I'd go grab myself an Isaiah Davis handcuff. That's what I would do. I'm not going to sit here and say one over the other because the numbers are identical, with the slight exception of Isaiah Davis actually putting up a little bit better numbers than Braylon Allen. And that's fine. It is what it is. I would get them both if the opportunity was available to me. If I had one of these guys, I'd go get the other and basically guarantee yourself a 30-point week. That's what I would do.
Oh, that's a good question, TS. I'll jump on this one. And even though I'm slightly I slightly have a Ravens bias. To me, the Broncos, I know they've been pretty good defensively all year long, but you know, I'm looking at, you know, a team that's, you know, you got to think the Ravens can't really, talking about seeding. I think they've lost 5 games at this point. Like, they can't afford to go out and really have a bad game. You know what I mean? So I would put my money on Harbaugh rallying that defense before I put my money on the Broncos. The Broncos are kind of new to this situation. You know, I'm taking the Ravens, man, and I'll fall on my short sword if I'm wrong, but I'm always going to go with those Ravens.
You ain't wrong, and there's one reason why. New York Giants. That's why you ain't wrong.
Oh, that's
so
all
Baltimore's going to New York this week. They'll beat up on the Giants. Ain't nothing good happening over there except Malik Neighbors. So take that for what it's worth. That's what it's going to be. That's what you should do, dog. That's where you need to go. As much as like I'm in favor of this Denver Broncos defense, they played quite well. They're the number 3 defense in the league right now. Holy smokes!
Baltimore does have a sketchy pass defense, though. Let's put that out there. We have to put that out there. It's a little sketchy.
Great. That's what I want to hear, because that means that my guy Malik Neighbors will put up a couple of points. That's great.
Just the question by itself puts me in default mode. I'm a default Ravens every time.
I wish I could argue with that. It's not crazy. But the Broncos are up against the Indianapolis Colts.
I have the Broncos defense in a league that I'm paying for, and I'm in the playoffs with that team. So you can't go wrong with the Broncos defense. I'll be completely honest with you. They're not too bad for fantasy.
So let's look at this for what it's worth. The 23rd ranked defense is that vaunted Baltimore Ravens defense. They're ranked 23 overall. The Broncos are ranked 3rd overall. All right. Crazy talk, right? Facts of the matter is, I just think the matchup this week favors the Ravens. That's all. I think the New York Giants matchup favors the Ravens. That's my suggestion, TS. Take it for what it's worth. Same suggestion that the King of Pop is giving you. What do you think, dude, since you jumped in? Would you go Denver or Baltimore this week?
Oh, Denver. I was just saying there, like Denver would be my choice. I've had them on my paid league. They've been doing me just fine.
All right.
Even given you just said they're playing the Giants.
I do have – sorry, say again?
I said, do you still take them given the fact that he said the Ravens are playing the Giants? You still take them?
Yeah, I still would take Denver.
Okay. Ooh, wow, boy. You're a wild boy.
That's brave. That's brave, because ain't nothing good happening in New York. And that's really what I'm basing the selection on, more so than even the Giants.
Kind of a shitty pass defense. It's a good game for Malik Neighbors to have this is why you drafted me game, you know, where he has like 2 or 3 touchdowns and 100+ receiving yards. It's very, very possible. This ain't the Mike McDonald's Ravens from last year.
Oh, so what you're telling me is I'm gonna run all over. I'm gonna receive all over the Nodge this week. Is what you're telling me? That's what you're talking about. All right, I'll wait for that.
You do. You have a good chance.
I will wait for that.
I guess that's genuine. You do.
All right, I like that. That's good. Sorry, Nodge. That is definitely good. Shout outs to you, TS. Thanks for jumping in and asking us. Asking us what's what. Always love your questions as we go through. Same to you there, Dylan Fink. Big shout outs to you. What else we got out there? So we've done most of this fun jazz. We haven't looked at these guys here, and there's not a lot of them that I would want to talk about. But let's start with this guy. Like, this guy should be started. I ain't gonna spend too much time on it because my guy puts up 40-point weeks every so often when he's targeted heavy, and that guy's Jordan Addison. Rostered in 84% of leagues out there, started in 57. You should start him too if you got him. Ray McLeod. Ray's trending up, but I don't know.
Not since Darnell Mooney back now. Nope.
That's what I was about to say. I was like, there's too many targets in Atlanta. Darnell Mooney's killing it when he gets the chance to kill it. He's back, and he will continue to kill. Who else are we missing? Drake London. Drake London hasn't quite figured out who he is yet, and maybe he will, maybe he won't. But I do think he is the guy over top of Ray McLeod if Darnell Mooney is in the mix too. So, he might be trending up today. I would not suggest you go and snag him right now. Wouldn't be my suggestion. Let's take a look at Devon Valley because he's been trending up for a couple of weeks, and I've been dodging him like the plague because I needed to see trend. And guess what? Trend got shot in the foot by the Cleveland Browns. So they had a bye week this past week. They're up against Indianapolis. If you're desperate, do it. But, he's going to be available. 23% rostered, 2% started. He's available out there. I just don't see the attempts that would make this attractive. And that's my worry with Devon Valley. Just the number. If the number was more consistently around that 9, I would be a bit more interested, even with lower numbers. But it's kind of hit and miss with Devon Valley. This guy, though, is somebody you should probably be talking about because a certain Mr. Young is starting to figure it out. It was bound to happen, right? Just a little bit of time. These young quarterbacks need a safety blanket. In Chicago, the safety blanket's name is Keenan Allen. In Carolina, the safety blanket's name is Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen basically he's been looking at 10 plus targets these past 2 weeks. I don't see that trending in any other direction. The more targets to Adam Thielen, the more receptions for Adam Thielen. 23 points a week before, 29 points this week. They're going up against a shaky Dallas Cowboys squad. Upside for the Dallas team is, what's his name? Micah Parsons is back. Things are looking a little bit better and nastier by way of defense, but been a tough season for them. Even that being said, I expect for a very decent showing for Mr. Adam Thielen. Rostered in 70% of leagues, started in 41. The secret's clearly out. If he's available in your league, go snag Adam Thielen. It'll be worth your while. Quentin Johnson. Sure. Let's look at Quentin Johnson. Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. Very hit and miss, low target share. These are the issues. If these targets were higher on a regular basis, I would be much more interested. I've been interested in this guy all season, to be quite frank. Shout out to you, Plankster. I've been very interested in Quentin Johnson this entire season, but he just hasn't shown me the track record I would need to go and pick him up, man. And Oh man, yeah, that's kind of where we're at with this situation. Rostered in 55, started in 22. That sounds about right, to be honest with you. It's just a little bit shaky with Quentin Johnson. If you're desperate against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, not a crazy selection, but hopefully you can find something better on the waiver wire. I don't know why he's here. Oh, it's just been one of those years for Tank. Oh, no. I love this receiver. This guy's one of my favorite receivers in the league. I think he's talent just drips off this kid. Rough week against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Things have been rough across the board in as far as Texas is concerned. They had a bye week. Hopefully, folks are a little bit more healthy. He's been the recipient of a fair amount of double teams with the downturn to his wide receiver room. I think that wide receiver room is a little bit closer to being healthy now. I believe Stephon Diggs may still be out, but Nico Collins is back. So, Nico should be commanding the double teams, which might make Tank open again. What's crazy, though, is in comparison to last year, these numbers are much, much lower. Might have a lot to do with, again, the fact that Stephon Diggs has been added to this wide receiver room. But the target share is not quite what I would want it to be to go and pick up a Tank Dell now. They're going up against the Miami Dolphins in Week 15. Tank Dell's rostered 85% of leagues out there, only started in 21. Again, makes perfect sense given how shaky his numbers have been this season. Against the Miami team, I can see him putting up decent numbers against Miami. If you got to start him, do so. Who else we got? We got some good folks here. So we're going to start with Juwan Jennings here. Juwan Jennings crushed it up in Chicago. I think he's going to do the same thing against the Los Angeles Rams. Not quite to the tune of 28 points, but I think Juwan Jennings will put up decent points. If you've got a Juwan Jennings, a George Kittle, or whoever the available running back is for the San Francisco Niners week on week, stream them, play them. You'll see numbers, all right? The target share is definitely there. If the target share is low, he's not going to put up decent numbers. Quite literally as simple as that. But for the most part, he's been getting over 5, between 5 and 11 targets through the season. They're looking at Juwan Jennings, and that's even in times when they had a full wide receiver room. So keep that in mind. I think you'll see good things from Juwan. Judge Jerry Jeudy. If you don't have Jerry Jeudy on your squad, you messed up. What's popping, Crooked Commish? Yeah, you messed up. I had to go find myself some Jerry Jeudy love out there. He is on my squad. I think this is the resurgence of Jerry Jeudy. I have to say, I was saying to King of Pop earlier today, I would not be mad. I would not be mad if Ryan Poles went and got this guy instead of Keenan Allen for the year 2025. Sorry, Keenan, I said it out loud, but I said it. I really like what this guy's doing. He can take the top off. He can 50-50. There's really no end to his ability on the grass. There really isn't. Fact of the matter is he was in a bad place with a bad QB before. Coming to Cleveland, he was in a bad place with a bad QB as well. But enter Jameis Winston, and we did talk about him just in short today when we were discussing quarterbacks. He's been one of the more entertaining things to watch in the NFL over the past 2 weeks. This guy just a breath of fresh air, a beam of sunshine, who is just so happy that he has the opportunity to play some football, man. And hey, man. Oh, Crooked Commissioner is happy to say I made the playoffs in all 4 of my leagues. Hopefully y'all were able to do the same. Good luck in the playoffs. I'm 2 out of 4 there. Crooked Commissioner, 2 out of 4. I got bumped out by just a couple of points this week in in 2 of my big leagues. I'm not pleased with that. But in the SuperFlex League, I'm doing well. We're in the playoffs. In the Bears Podcaster League, I am leading. I have a bye week, so we'll see how things shake out.
Do you mind me throwing 2 cents into this Jerry Jeudy situation?
By all means.
Here's what I'd be mindful for of anybody picking up Jerry Jeudy. Not to say don't pick him up. I'm totally. If you have a need, great pickup to have. But be mindful if Cedric Tillman comes back. He's been hurt the last couple of weeks. Cedric Tillman comes back, you can see Judy's touch share kind of go down a little bit, and so just be wary of that. I just want to throw that out there.
That is definitely a thing. I also don't believe it's a thing. The reason being, like, one of these guys is paid, the other guy's not. You know, I'm just saying Jerry Jeudy over the past few weeks in the absence of Cedric Tillman has exploded. Like 36 points, 14, 52 points, 17. He's blown it up over the course of the last couple of weeks. I have a feeling they're not going to want to mess with that too much. That being said, I do expect the target share to go down for Elijah Moore. Right? That's where I see the targets being reduced, unfortunately, when it comes to the Cleveland Browns. Hey, Juan, dear, respect, man. Thanks for the little bit of super chat love. We appreciate it. In a 2-week playoff, currently in week 2, and down 20 points to my opponent, 5.5 PPR. I have a solid roster. Justin Jefferson and Nico at wide receiver. Beautiful. My flex is AJB. Would you start Rico at flex for some floor safety over AJ Brown?
Whenever I'll tell you this, whenever AJ Brown's been complaining about the offense, whenever he does that, AJ Brown's touches go way up. Way up. Just a caution.
So as an AJ Brown owner, I might be with you, bro. Landier, I might be with you in starting JJ and Nico. Oh, sorry, Rico. Rico Dowdle?
You think he was saying Rico or Nico?
Well,
Rico Dowdle is, if he's saying Rico Dowdle, great flex piece. Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, Rico Dowdle for sure over AJ Brown in this scenario. Would you believe that? Yeah, I'm with you, bro. I'm with you, Wandier.
Oh yeah, it's easy. Rico Dowdle.
I would go with Rico Dowdle. Let's breathe some life into this question. So
when you're talking about exploding on the fantasy, boy, Rico Dowdle is a gift right now.
He's not a joke, and ain't a whole lot positive happening in Dallas outside of this guy. Like even my guy CeeDee Lamb's numbers are not what they once were without Dak Prescott. This guy's numbers have gone in the opposite direction. Why? Because his attempts have gone upwards, right? Can't throw, run. So very simply, 19 attempts, 22 attempts, 18 attempts over the past 3 weeks. And this is basically since Dak Prescott's gone down.
So to be specific, he's asking to start Rico over AJ. I'm
saying yes.
I say yes too, Wandier, man. I'm being straight up with you. I think Rico, I don't think that's going to stop. I think he's just going to keep. Yeah, I'd start Rico because he's going to get more of a red zone opportunity than AJ Brown is.
It's so funny, man, because Battle of Philadelphia, Pittsburgh versus the Philadelphia Eagles coming up there week 15. AJ Brown's numbers have been pretty consistent. even with low target share. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh man, this is a really interesting look. Just these last 2 weeks have been low, and I've noticed both of these weeks being low, and I was a little bit worried about my AJ Brown love. Man, because really what we're seeing in Philadelphia is we're seeing a whole lot of Saquon Barkley, and strangely on the other side, probably my favorite wide receiver in the game, Devonta Smith, man. Devonta Smith really is getting them targets. He's eating targets, and he's putting up great numbers. I can't really say the same, and it's just these last 2 weeks about A.J. Brown. It hasn't really worked out well for A.J. Brown. But that's just a 2-week low sample size, because 32, 25, 33, 19, 13, like these are decent numbers here, you know? I'm going to say it again. I strangely lean towards the running back in situations like this. So, yeah, I would still do Rico over A.J. Brown.
Just because of red zone, the opportunity he's going to get when they get in the red zone is going to – that's why I'm favoring Rico Dowdle.
There it is. Well, it's that, and for me, it's more the fact that they just don't – they're going to be forced to run the ball that much more frequently because they can't rely on the pass game the way they used to be able to. So am I safe going into the you are, but I mean it's Jalen Hurts.
I don't know about that, man. With the way they're running the ball, you know, what he's talking about numbers when it comes to numbers and next to the QB he's going against. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say you're safe.
Who's your backup, Drax? Yeah. Who's your backup quarterback? Let us know in the chat, dog. No problems, Wandier. Thanks for shouting out, and thanks for the super chat love, man. We really appreciate. Thank you for supporting the SuperFlex show, man. All the support is much wanted. Barkley running so much. Who's your backup QB? Right. Let me figure out who that is, and that might. He has no backup. Oh, you're raw dogging it into the you raw dogging it into the playoffs, bro. Well,
that's wild business.
It is wild business. If you got a buster, because here's the thing. A lot of his I just need to look at something here for a second. Yeah. Okay. So the thing about Jalen Hurts, and you can look for yourself if you want, but his numbers are sort of rushing touchdown dependent. Would you believe that? Right? His numbers are sort of rushing touchdown dependent. 24 points, touchdown.
If Stafford's available, you better go get him, Jack.
If Stafford is so's Drake May. I would be leaning Stafford over Drake May just because of wide receiving core. If there's a guy available, Crooked Commissioner, right. In a 10-man league, you can get away with it. There will be viable quarterbacks available there for you to snake right now, too. So I wouldn't do – ooh. Let's look at Bryce Young since you're asking the question. Let's look at Bryce Young. Against Dallas. So even in a decent showing, only 13 points for Bryce Young. I don't like it's just too early to go Bryce Young for any good reason. The trend ain't there, unfortunately.
Matchup.
And it's against Dallas. Like it might be a good it's a good call. I still wouldn't go Bryce Young against Dallas over Matt Stafford. But Matt Stafford is also playing the San Francisco 49ers. So that we're talking matchup as well.
Carolina is actually
okay, he dropped Lockett for Stafford. All right. I wouldn't yikes.
Is it true that they're saying Carolina is the betting favorite this week?
Say again?
I heard that Carolina might be the betting favorite this week.
Over Dallas? Really?
I heard. Wow. I don't know how true that is.
Well, one of these teams has a quarterback, the other one don't. So there is that factor. But yeah, I would dodge that like to play. Who do I start next week? Stafford or Hurts? I don't know, man. If Puka Nakua is playing, start Stafford. That's my answer to that one. If both those wide receivers are playing, start Stafford. If one of the wide receivers isn't playing, start Hurts. Yeah, all them things. After the bye week, same answer. Dependent on who's good. JSN is taking over Lockett's spot. Lockett might be a free agent next year. Man, JSN is popping off this season. So for all of you guys out there who are paying attention to good old JSN, he's doing the darn thing. Let's take a quick peek. Of course. There we go. There's the guy.
You're running into something on your desk.
Oh, my bad. I know what it is. There we go. Okay. Jackson Smith and Jigba. Man, fantastic numbers, great trend, even with low target share. No question. Yep, you're not crazy, Crooked and or Tracks. I could see a Tyler Lockett in a Bears uniform next year on the cheap. That would work. He can take the top off. Holy smokes, no man! Like he's like exactly the guy I was describing. Amy,
what are we talking about?
So we had a conversation just before this show with respect to Keenan Allen and the Bears re-signing him. And I said, you know what? I kind of think that we need somebody who can take the top off in that slot position. And that's basically a Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett is like exactly the guy that I would pick up on the cheap.
Yeah. I mean,
I was saying Jerry Jeudy.
How old is he though right now?
What's that?
How old is Lockett?
He's old. He ain't young.
He's balled it out. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, he's old. Ain't no questions there. But
he's got a Rogaine subscription.
Man, shout out Rogaine. You know what I'm saying? give the good people at Rogaine some love.
I feel like a lot of receivers go to the Bears when they're kind of washed out. We've kind of been seeing this pattern a little bit. So, like, while I would like Lockett, I don't want him to come here if his best years are behind him.
I don't mind if it's
that's just going to add to the Chicago's where receivers go to die narrative. We don't need that.
That's okay. Some receivers have to die, right? Like I don't mind 32. The number keeps growing. I don't mind if he's coming here late in his career if he can still do the things that we need him to do, which is take the top off the defense. So far, so good. He's been able to do that up to now in his later years. He's a consummate great receiver. Yeah, if Trax is saying it, if Keenan goes, give me Lockett. I would be fine with that, to be frank with you, because he does the stuff that Keenan can't do. He can take the top off the defense and sort of serve as a slot receiver, right?
True. Quick commits says, are we replacing one ball guy?
Yes, we are. One has a beard, one doesn't have a beard. That's really the difference. Except for the other bald guy, he can take the top off the defense, give me a discount. But that's part of it, right? We're getting an older guy. He's not going to come here for top dollar, whereas Keenan Allen hopefully will take a discount himself. But I'm just not sure if the discount is heavy enough, right? The other piece to all this is I would want a guy that would allow you to switch Rome Odunze into the slot and still be able to take the top off the defense on the outside. That's my biggest problem with Keenan Allen.
Hey,
anyhow,
I don't know, man.
Shout out to bald guys.
I'm just saying, might want to stay away from guys still burning CDs and shit. Might want to stay away from that.
Damn, you just outed my homeboy Vish, man. Shout out to you, Vish. My brother's still he's still burning CDs to this day, man. You don't care. You got a 6-disc changer in the whip, and that's what it is.
Wow. There's always going to be a market for somebody still burning CDs.
Oh, there's no market. He can't sell it. Ain't nobody gonna buy anything from him. But he's burning CDs. You know what I'm saying? He's burning them. He's playing them in the whip. See, Deuce One knows exactly what's up, man. You know, Deuce One knows Bish, man. He got them. He got just 8 hours of West Coast on a bloody CD. He's doing it. Anyways, man, jokes. But yeah, man. Shout out to Jack and Smith of Jigba. He does it right. He does the darn thing. Let's go back to trends. See if we've trended out on the wide receiver front. I think we kind of have. I really like what's going on with a lot of these wide receivers. Here's another one doesn't get as much love as he should. The trend is ridiculous, except for this week. And even in this week, it was probably more because he was up against the Detroit Lions team. That's pretty good. It's going up against the New England Patriots. You got yourself Josh Downs, 72% rostered, 5% started. I'd start him. He's pretty good, right? Makes matters even better is this target share that he gets. All right. Might not wind up in the end zone. Doesn't seem to score a lot of touchdowns. But the kid puts up really decent numbers week on week on week. $5 for a spin of 25 CDs. Deuce One, too funny.
Homie is aging out, and he's aging out.
That's too funny. Yeah, our guy. Just shout out to Darnell Mooney. Give him a little bit of love. Give Mo Fugger a little bit of love for giving Darnell a little bit of love. But yeah, 30-odd points against the Minnesota Vikings. That's pretty big. Good to see him back at it and just crushing numbers all over again. I don't see that doing anything but continuing on against Deuce One's beloved Las Vegas Raiders this coming week. So he's rostered in 81, started in 42 one more time. That sounds about right. If you got him, you start him. Darnell Mooney's a guy. He is. Let me just take a quick peek at who's trending down on wide receivers, because that's just as important. You know who's trending down? Two guys I'm glad I looked at this. I'm real glad I looked at this. So first one who's trending down is Nick Westbrook-Akine. Nick been killing it. He got all kinds of track record, mad numbers, but just about no targets. So when these targets go down, so does Nick's output, right? It's about that simple. Targets went down to 2 targets this week against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Man, Will Levis is just hurting this guy's output, and I think that's the problem, right? They face the Cincinnati Bengals this coming week. If I were you guys, King Book of World, you may be a little bit wary about Nick Westbrook-Akine starting this coming week. Who else we got? Another guy I got to look at for my own purposes is this guy, Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
Still.
Oh, yeah. Derek Carr's hurt. Oh, snap. So there's a science there. So if Derek Carr's hurt with a concussion and potentially a broken finger on his non-throwing hand, that definitely is going to eat into the targets to Marquez Valdez-Scantling, which is going to eat into the numbers that he's able to produce. It explains why he didn't do very well this past week, even with 7 targets. It's going to be more of the same for Mr. Scantling, unfortunately, through the next couple of weeks. Damn. I'm just cluing into this, realizing that I have Mr. Scantling on at least one bench. I'll have to figure that out. Look at anybody else of note. I think there's a couple of guys we should talk about. Jalen Tolbert. Guys, this no Dak Prescott has really hurt this wide receiver core. Jalen Tolbert was doing really well and seeing very decent numbers for the better part of this season, especially by way of targets. Unfortunately, now the targets are dwindling between 4, 5 and a max over the past 5 games. Numbers have really come down, unfortunately. Take it easy, Crooked Commish. Good to have you, my brother. Appreciate it, man.
Hello, Crooked. What's the name of your podcast?
Yeah, send us your podcast, please, Crooked Commission. I'll definitely come watch your stuff. Same token, I didn't realize you had a show. After I watch your stuff, it'd probably be great to have you on SuperFlex. It'd be really cool to have you on.
Question.
That being said, be wary of Jalen Tolbert. Say what?
Never mind. I'll put it up now. I'll put up the email.
Cool. Oh yeah, you can always send it to us in the background too. That's one way to do it. If you want to send the link to us directly. But yeah, be wary of this Dallas situation. I'm wary of CeeDee Lamb, let alone Jalen Tolbert. So again, be careful. Jaden Reed, this Green Bay wide receiver thing, I don't know what to say. Any given week, it could be anybody who's good on that team. I can't sit back and say that, I don't know, man. That's all I can say. So, like, the level of inconsistency here is crazy. Jaden Reed 1 week is great. Next week he ain't. Same thing with all the wide receivers who aren't named Romeo Doubs. Romeo Doubs is pretty consistent when they allow him to be consistent.
Let me throw this up while hopefully Crooked Commission is still in there. You ever want to consider coming on the show, man? There it is. Hit us up at nomadlivepod2023@gmail.com. And come check us out, man. Maybe we can do something and come and flower your podcast in any way we can.
Absolutely. We're always here to to promote the community as it stands. Love you guys. Again, Chicago Sports Podcast is out there with us too. Shout out to you. Always good chopping up with you guys, and I have no problems helping to promote your show just like you're doing here with me. Really appreciate that, Crooked Commish. That's love. Same token, you can catch me at Kedz Canuck on X. By all means, like, share, follow, all that good stuff, and we'll figure a way to collaborate in future. I think that's a great idea. But yeah, back to the Packers. Man, I don't know what to tell you guys. I don't know who's good which week or what. Christian Watson was great last week. I didn't know. I left him on my bench. Romeo Doubs was hurt last week. Again, who knows which one of these guys is any good. Dontavian Wicks. I haven't even heard the name Dontavian Wicks for the better part of this season. Just look. Let's just look at Dontavian Wicks' numbers. He had a 24-point game in week 4. Outside of that, just absolutely inconsistent, right? So be wary of these Green Bay Packer wide receiver. Like, imagine the Bears fan is saying stuff like that about the Green Bay Packers wide receiver situation. What it really means is that Jordan Love is actually really good, and start Jordan Love. But the wide receiver core, a little bit weird, not to be trusted. And I think that's all the negative things I can say about the Packers in one podcast. So we'll leave that alone. Take a quick peek at these tight ends. Deuce 1. Any what it do with Michael Mayer? What's popping with Michael Mayer, Deuce? Give me some good news, because I thought this kid had a fantastic season last season. I thought he was great. But can't pass up a talent like Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers is over there killing it. So it's a little bit tough to even look at a guy like Michael Mayer, but he has great hair. I agree. Not a bad haircut. It is what it is. Especially coming from tracks. Anyways, you know what I mean? Low targets, Bowers is what's up. Okay. Yeah. He does have a solid chin. Yeah. He looks like he'd take a good punch, meaning I just want to punch him in the face. I'm just joking. Anyhow, he's got one decent week of fantasy football. I can see why you're trending up. I wouldn't do it, y'all. Just not enough target share, I think, for him to really go. Mayer has better hair than Brock. Listen to this. We've got a barbershop argument in the chat. Dalton Kincaid, don't trust it. Not to be trusted. Mad targets, though.
That's gonna pop.
crazy.
That's gonna pop sooner or later. I think they're down a key receiver too, man. I'm not sure, but that's a very intriguing piece right there.
It's not.
I would not overlook that.
I'm gonna tell you what, he's out this game. So I just caught that. I don't know why he's trending up like that, but maybe it's because of this decent target share. Dalton Kincaid was a wide receiver. Was a tight end I would have looked at in the draft coming into the season. At this point, if you need a tight end, go do it. But if you need a tight end, really, you shouldn't look any further than right here.
He's right. I believe. I thought he was.
Nope. Okay. It seems to be okay. I don't see any no indication that he's hurt as yet. 50%, 58% rostered, 11% started. He's really been pretty consistent this season, and so has his target share. On a low, 6 targets this week, still put up 12.5 fantasy football points, including a touchdown. So he's looking like 3 weeks in a row touchdown, looking like that red zone threat for Jaden Daniels. Keep your eyes peeled on Zach Ertz, folks. If you didn't know, now you know, but I bet you knew. Anybody else to talk about here? Y'all know about Mark Andrews. You know what I mean? I don't have to talk about Mark Andrews. Cole Kmet trending down. Yep. Remember that thing Rob Minarski was saying? Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't. Like, what's crazy is looky here. Again, they're going up against the Minnesota Vikings. Against the Minnesota Vikings, Cole Kmet put up 13 plus points. He was part of the answer to the question mark that is that that Vikings defense. Maybe you do it. My guy Crimson saying do it. Maybe you do it. I don't know. Do you do it? I don't know. I can't call it. I'm an agent of chaos.
I have Cole on both teams, so I say do it. But I'm also a madman. So
I am also a psychopath. Yeah, I'm with you there. I don't know what to call here. I don't know. It's one of two things that's going to happen in this week for Chicago. Either the Chicago Bears get just absolutely rocked again, which is so not out of the question, or they actually play the way that they played against the Minnesota Vikings the last time. If they're able to actually maintain that and do it one more time, then I think there's a heavy dose of Cole Kmet in this game. So
absolutely.
Crazy. All right. Definitely trending down is this guy. Whatever happened to Dawson Knox? I guess Kincaid happened. Enough said. Just no targets here to talk about whatsoever. Noah Gray's trending down. Sorry, Noah. I tried to give you a little bit of handcuff love, and even that wasn't good enough. You're definitely trending in the opposite direction. And as per normal, just about time. We're headed towards the end of a fantasy football season, and Kyle Pitts is trending in the opposite direction of up. Yeah. Par for the course, Kyle Pitts. Man, were you overdrafted? So, with that being said, Kyle Pitts is up against the Las Vegas Raiders. Could be a decent game for Kyle Pitts. I wouldn't expect it to be because there's no evidence to show that it would be. Sorry, Kyle. All right, that's them tight ends. Let's take a quick minute. I'm gonna load up the matchups for the week. We'll go through the matchups and we'll call it a day. King of Pop, do you want to plug the world for us?
Sure can.
Rock
Let me see. What do we got? Tomorrow, of course, man, don't miss this one because we've kept quiet since the game Sunday. Kept quiet. And you know why? It's because I don't like all that complaining, bitching, and whining. And I want to really give the fan base a simmer down based on, the game we saw Sunday. And I think we'll be loaded up and ready for a whole hell of a lot of content comes tomorrow night, man. I think we saving it all up for this one because there's going to be a lot to be said. You know, we're going to talk about a variety of things, Ryan Poles, and the fact that I knew, and I said it during the live broadcast, everybody was going to target Ryan Poles. Now they need a target. We got to have somebody to be mad at right now, and it's Ryan Poles. And we're going to talk about some of the dynamic between he and Kevin Warren, and you know that whole thing. I'm going to have a bunch to say about that, and it's going to get spicy. Of course, it's some extra sauce. That's what the hell we do over there. So make sure you tune in, get yourself a membership. It's only $4.99. Grab yourself a membership and come on in and have some fun, man. It's going to be a good show tomorrow.
There you have that. So yeah, I would plug my show, but we're on my show. So let's take a peek at the matchups for Week 15. Boom. Courtesy of NFL.com. We'll start things out with the game on Thursday, which is the Los Angeles Rams against the San Francisco 49ers. Yeah. I'm gonna give this game to the Los Angeles Rams, and the reason being they've been playing great football as of late. It's a little bit of a too little, too late situation, and the 49ers just whooped the Bears last week, so I'd like somebody to beat them. So I'm leaning towards the Los Angeles Rams on this one. What are your thoughts there, King of Pop, dude?
It's hard to call a winner here, but I'm based on the trends I see with LA. I think LA gets to win. That should be a high scoring game. That's going to be in the 30s. So pick the big. You got Rams players and 49ers. Several. I wouldn't say several on the offense, but definitely a couple. Juwan Jennings, you know. But LA Rams, I think, yeah, it's going to be a high scoring affair.
All right, dude. Thoughts?
I don't really got much else I can add from that, to be honest.
All right, cool. All right. So we're rolling into Sunday the 15th, starting out with Dallas Cowboys versus the Carolina Panthers. This is an ugly football game. If you're a fan of either team, I feel for you. But I'm a Bears fan, so it is what it is. If I'm picking a team in this particular situation, man.
I'm going Panthers.
Wow. I'm about to say the same thing. Yeah, I'm leaning Panthers. I think this is a great get-right game for Bryce Young. Hence the little chatter earlier on about whether one should start a Bryce Young this week. I think this will be a good game for Bryce. I think he'll show out. I think Adam Thielen will have a good game, and it'll be a little bit of a tough outing, a little bit of tough sledding for the Dallas Cowboys outside of Rico Dowdle. So that's my 2 cents there, Carolina. What do you think, King of Pop?
Hey, I'm taking Carolina. We know a little bit in Chicago about snake bit, and that's what the hell the Cowboys are right now. Yep,
there's that. All right, moving on. We got Kansas City versus the Cleveland Browns. I think this one's pretty straightforward. I'm just going to say the Ketchup Land wins. And what do you guys think?
Better battle than you think it's going to be. I think it's going to come down right on down to the wire. I think your kicker wins you the game. This is going to be a tough one, man. I think Kansas City gets it, though. They know how to close the game up.
Dude, thoughts?
Yeah, I think it'll probably be a close game. It's not quite yet time for Kansas City to remember how to play football. Maybe like once we're like 1 or 2 weeks away from playoffs, then I'll take them all the way for everything. But kind of towards the no man's point, it might be a little bit of a higher scoring game, but come down to a last second field goal or touchdown on Kansas City's part, or something that just goes their way.
So what they're both saying here is you should start Jerry Jeudy. That's sort of the moral of this story. Outside of that, we'll move on. Miami Dolphins versus the Houston Texans. This will be a really good football game. Man, things have been a little bit shaky in Houston as of late. And at the same time, things have been shaking upward for the Miami Dolphins. They're starting to get their feeling again. And they're trying to get into the playoffs now. I have a strange feeling. Oh, no. I'm starting Houston's defense. I think Miami's going to win this football game.
Boy, that's you crazy starting that defense, man. You crazy starting that defense in this game. I know. I think if they can get that rock going with the running back in Houston, it could be a long day. They can manage this game and get it down to the wire and get a touchdown or field goal to get him. But if they can stop him on the ground, I think Miami will take off on him and beat him by 10, 12 points, 13 points.
Miami ain't no slouch on the ground either. So this will be a really good football game on both sides of the ball. Big day for Joe Mixon. I think it'll be a big day for Devin A-Chain. Same token, man. Then we're talking about two of the better receiving cores in the NFL. I think I have to watch. Yeah, I got to watch that game on Sunday. that's my 1 o'clock Sunday game for sure. For sure.
You don't even have to ask me about this next game. It's like watching two bums get in a fight and you picking a favorite. I don't care who won. Both of them lost.
No love for the Jets, man. No love for the Jets. And no love for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Although I kind of have special places in my heart for both of these teams because they look, smell, and feel like they're somehow in the same situation as my beloved team is. But maybe for different reasons. Anyways, I hate to pick a winner here because I think they're both losers. The best way I can put it. I am going to pick the Jets because I think the Jets have a really good defensive squad. They just haven't been really showing up when the need be this season. I still go with the Jets here.
Well, it's a hobo fight in a train car.
Those are good, actually. They're great to watch. You should film those. I'm serious. People making money on the internet. Hey.
No. Those are soulless mouth breathers that's doing shit like that, man. You can't.
Bro, you don't remember them? You didn't watch those back in the day? Bum fights?
Try to hurt each other. They're already hurt. Why you want to see that?
Bro, you just that's what was going on. They were just lighting up two hobos and maybe throwing a rock at them or something, getting them wired up. Next thing you know, they're going at it in like a.
Listening to you talk, you are a rotten goddamn kid. I know that right now.
I might have been. Hey, is what it is. Take it for what it's worth. Didn't think that we were going to cross bum fights today on the show, but such is life. We've also got Washington versus the New Orleans Saints. A Derek Carrless New Orleans Saints. I'm definitely leaning. Oh man, yeah, I'm definitely leaning towards Washington today. Washington will win this game without much of a challenge from the New Orleans Saints, unless. And here's a crazy weird unless. And he's on IR. So there's that. I was gonna say like maybe Taysom Hill comes out of the woodwork and just puts the team on his back, but I'm pretty sure he's on IR. And if he's on IR, then IR correct, they're gonna lose. Oh man, too funny. All right, so where were we? All right, so we are now looking at Baltimore versus the Giants. Quick and dirty. Baltimore, I'm pretty sure they're ringing endorsement across the board. Gentlemen?
Mack truck versus Pinto.
Yeah. Baltimore wins. Next up, we've got Cincinnati Bengals versus the Tennessee Titans. I really wish Cincinnati was really vying for playoff contention. They may still well be. I like this team. Why? Cincinnati handcuff is going to win the season for me this year. That being said, they're going to stomp a mud hole in Will Levis and the squad in Tennessee. That's kind of what that's going to look like. Right. 425, New England versus the Arizona Cardinals. I lean Arizona here. How about you guys?
Cardinals.
You lean Arizona, man. They're gonna beat them up. It's like they stole something.
Hey, I'm just giving everybody the opportunity to say it like it is, and that is how it's going to be. Kyler Murray and the gang is going to do it raw and nasty. So take it for what it's worth. We've got Indianapolis Colts versus the Denver Broncos. As stated, I think Denver wins this game. I haven't said that in a real long time, by the way.
Yeah, I'm going Denver.
Wow.
Yeah. Mile high on the grass. It's probably going to be pretty cold. Dome team, I'm taking Denver.
Wow. Well, looky there. Denver, three thumbs up for Denver. I'm very surprised, but that just goes to show how bad the Colts really are. Take it for what it's worth. Next up, we got Buffalo Bills versus Detroit. This is a great football game as well. That's my 425 game, I think, on Sunday.
Buffalo. I'm taking Buffalo. Buffalo bust. I think they're this could be, in some strange universe, possibly a look at the Super Bowl. Could be. Buffalo's pretty tough, man. I'm taking Buffalo on this one. I think they have what it takes. They can get enough of a pass rush to really disrupt what Jared Goff wants to do. Once they start disrupting him, that guy goes downhill pretty quick. I'm taking Buffalo.
I don't know how to call this one because I don't. If you watch Detroit football these last couple of weeks, everything you just said is legit, right? They're gonna rattle Goff. He's not gonna really do it the way that he should and could do it. The receiver numbers are down. That's kind of how it's looked. But those two running backs in that offensive line, they can just run away with this game. So to me, the question is, will Ben Johnson allow them to run away with this football game on the ground? Or will he try to force the run and Jared Goff on the Bills? I don't know, but I'm going to pick Detroit in this one and think that the Bills are going to have a hard time stopping that rushing attack and that offensive line. That's where I'm at. All right.
Detroit.
Wow. 2 Detroit, 1 Buffalo. Cool. We've got Tampa Bay going to LAC playing against the Chargers. I really like Tampa Bay, man. Love the resurgence of Baker Mayfield, but I got to say, Jim Harbaugh runs the football. Chargers.
Yeah.
No Bucky Irving. I'm going with them Chargers.
Okay. Wow. 3 Chargers. We've got at 425 Pittsburgh versus Philadelphia, the Battle of Pennsylvania.
Home team wins.
Home team wins, he says. Well, it's at Philly.
I'm going Pittsburgh.
That's another game where Russell Wilson could be in a whole heap of shit.
Why do you say?
Pass rush.
Interesting.
Interior, exterior. They can get after the quarterback, and Russ is going to have his hands full.
Man, Kyle Brandt looking old. Sorry. In any event, I'm leaning Philly. I would lead Philly regardless as to what's going on here, mainly because I don't know if any team can stop Saquon Barkley. So there's that factor. I'm not trying to discount I'm not trying to discount Jalen Hurts or AJ Brown or Devonta Smith or Dallas Goedert or the offensive line. There's some great things going on in Philadelphia in like across the board, but I think it comes down to, can you stop Saquon Barkley from running ruckshot? And I don't think that team's a Pittsburgh Steelers.
No need to complicate it. Run the damn ball and see if they can stop them. If they can't, you keep running that shit.
You run that some more. You're darn straight. Green Bay Packers versus the Seattle Seahawks. Here's how I'm going to answer this one. As much as I hate doing it, I'm going to pick the Green Bay Packers over Seattle, mainly because I need Seattle to really stink so that I have hope for our game against them down the road. So this is sort of a bit of a prayer that they're not very good, and Green Bay can take them, so that maybe there's a chance in heck that the Bears can't down the road. There's no logic here.
No.
None. Green Bay. What do you think, King of Pop?
I think Green Bay is going to be a little feisty coming off that loss to Detroit. They missed some opportunities out there. I think Green Bay, it's a good chance. Could be Seattle could be a meal on the plate, man. They look like a hot, steamy steak right now. To the Pittsburgh Packers team.
Rounding things out, we got 2 games on Monday night. First one being the Bears versus the Minnesota Vikings. I got to call it the way that I see it, and I'll just put it like this. Bears can win this game. It's not out of the realm of possibilities. Bears should have won the last game. Those 2 things being said, I still think Minnesota wins.
I'm taking the Bears. I think they can duplicate the situation they just had and
Perfect.
probably have a good rebound game against Minnesota. I'm calling the Bears on this.
Dude, what do you think?
Kind of a tough one. On one hand, I think Caleb Williams is going to show out on Monday Night Football. On the other hand, I think this defense is Swiss cheese, and Sam Darnold might have another fun game. So it might be a little shootout on Monday night, but I kind of have to go Minnesota. Sorry, Bears fans.
Yeah, and there it is. Ron Winarski, you poisoned us all. So 2-1, Minnesota over Chicago. Final game for Week 15, we're talking about the Atlanta Falcons versus the Las Vegas Raiders, and I think all 3 of us are going to say Atlanta Falcons.
Mooney, 150 yards, 2 tutties, blowout.
Sounds about right to this guy. Shout out to the NFL, and shout out to Kyle Brandt, a Traders Bears fan, but a Bears fan nonetheless. Call that a day. Y'all, appreciate all the love in the chat, man. Shout outs to Crooked Commish. Shout outs to our guy, Brandon Trax, over at Chicago Sports Podcast. Shout out to my guy, Deuce One Effects. Always good having you, my brother. Juan Dier was with us. Thanks for the support and the super chat. We really appreciate that. The network can really use it. TS, shout out to you. Thanks for your questions today. Ron Winarski, Super No Maniac, Charles Johnson, the Minister. Mad love to both of you guys. Thanks for coming through and spending a little bit of time with us. It's Crimson You Dig, one of my favorite human beings out there. Shout out to Triple R. Thanks for jumping in and shaking up the world as per normal. King Booker World, the Naj, Mo Fugra. Shout outs to all you guys. Joe Mandel for basically making the playoffs. Shout out to Dr. Mason West and Aldo Gandia for making the playoffs in the Bears Podcaster League. Shout out to all you guys. Just want to make sure that you guys get a little bit of love, considering that you're giving me a little bit of love and helping things move forward here. Shout outs to my homies right here with me, King of Pop Nomad, my guy, the dude, the producer, who hooked up an awesome intro for today. Hope you guys enjoyed the brand new SuperFlex intro. And speaking of which, we're going to head on out. Peace out. Dude, take us home.